Hey, yo, what's going on? Um, Running a really weird comp right now. 1,000 square feet, 1530 or 60. It's gonna be 240, 270, 60. Yeah, 15, 285. All right, getting ready to call this guy back. He just texted me. I don't know if it's going to be a productive conversation. I just had a very similar situation happen where they were like, "Yeah, give me a call," and then I took a few minutes to run the comps, and by the time I got back to it, the woman was like, "I have your phone number. I've saved all the correspondence. Don't call me ever again, or else I'll report you." And so I was like, kind of glad that I didn't actually call. Um, but this time, this guy said, "Sure, give me a call." Quickly ran some comps. Really weird area. He right next door to him, literally right next door. It looks like some like a community, like a brand new community where the homes are going for like over 500,000, 600,000, some of them. But his is um, right next to it, and it's like the Zestimate is 240. On Redfin, it's at 314 is the Redfin estimate. I have ARV being 400 compared to some of the homes in the area. That may be inflated. I'm just not sure what's going on, really. Some of the properties, I'm really just not sure what's going on. Properties right around the block, again, are going for like, oh my God, this one's going for a mill. This is estimate at least. Way bigger house, but yeah, you get the idea. I'm going to give him a call back right now and see if I can get him on the phone and see if this is actually a lead or not. And I really plan on being quite rude if he wastes my time, to be quite honest. So let me give him a call. I have to pull it up here. I'm going to try to talk to him through the computer so you can hear. Because I don't want to call him on my phone number because I don't want him to report the number.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Cook.
Yeah, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good.
Good, good. I just wanted to give you a quick call. We were just going back and forth about your property over on Maybank.
Yeah, I'm not really trying to sell it. I've had it, I've owned that property for about 20 years, and I've got a good tenant in there. But I'd consider selling it if the price was right. But I'm not interested in, giving it away. I
Yeah.
can tell you that.
Yeah. I hear you.
I don't really. The house needs a fair amount of work on it. It's mainly lot value.
Mm.
I've got a tenant that's been in there about 5 years, and he's a pretty good tenant, and so I'm keeping his rent low. I think I'm charging him $1,200 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd consider selling it. I had an offer of like $254,000 on it recently, and I never did anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just I don't know what you're thinking it's worth, but I'd consider selling it, but it'd have to be somewhere 250 or north of that.
Yeah. Well, did you have a few minutes? I'd love to kind of just learn a little bit about the condition. That's pretty much how we base our offers. Everything else aside, we're just looking for a property that really we can build in some equity through doing the repairs. So it sounds like the property, like you said, it needs some work, and that's exactly what we're looking for, to be honest. Is the roof? How old would you say the roof is?
The roof was it's probably about 20 years old.
Okay.
I had a guy do some repairs on it recently last year, and he said it's got about 5 years on it.
Right.
But I think it's probably, it's probably it's going to need to be replaced here.
Right.
I would say in the next year to 2-3 years.
Okay.
It may have 2 to 3 years on it.
Gotcha. Okay, and then
the fascia under it, there's some rotten wood under that fascia that really needs to be replaced. I really think it's more of a tear down myself. I mean, you're going to need to spend some money on it. So anyway, new roof, some new fascia on it. Probably some other rotten wood on it. So, but,
okay. Does it have central air?
It's got one bathroom. And it's one bathroom, 3 small bedrooms. It's got hardwood floors in it. The last time the kitchen was updated was probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Bathroom, it's pretty much original stuff. So, the windows probably all need to be replaced. So, I mean, it's not in that great a shape. It's just more lot value.
Yeah.
Pretty big lot.
Right. And I'm took a look at the area here, and it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, but right next door, it looks like there's some new development, almost like a little community, right?
Yeah, right on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
I think it's David Weekley's building.
Okay.
These nice townhomes right across the fence.
Yeah. All right. Now, does the property there, does it have central AC?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got central air.
Okay.
I just replaced that probably about 4 years ago.
Okay.
With an American Standard. It's got a new AC. Good. So,
okay. All right.
I mean, the house is functioning, but it's not. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Sure.
It needs some work.
Sure.
It was built in &55.
Right.
It needs work.
Right. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine with us, to be honest. We prefer that it needs some work, and we would go in there and hope to salvage it, like you're saying. I know you're saying it's probably going for a lot of value, but if there's any way where we can just dump, we would rather dump a lot of money into it, bring it up to speed, as opposed to tear it down, right? If it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go in there probably. You might be able to get away less, but I would say 35 to 50,000.
Yeah.
You could fix it up, and make a pretty nice little rent house.
Right.
You know, and you might even be able to keep the renter I've got in there.
Right.
He's a good tenant.
Yeah.
But like I say, I don't need to sell it, and I've got a good tenant, so but I would consider it.
Yeah.
If the price was right.
Right.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna need at least 250 on it.
250, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, because that's what I'm looking at the repairs myself, kind of just trying to get an estimate of what we're talking about. Saying it needs the roof, the AC's fairly new, so that's good. But then the bathroom original, kitchen updated about 10 years ago. That'll probably need some sprucing up a bit. So just off my head, I'm probably thinking, yeah, it's gonna be closer to that 50,000 mark to bring it all the way up to speed.
Yeah. You're looking at, you're gonna. I'd say 50 grand.
Yeah.
Bring it up to snuff. Yeah, fix it up pretty nice. It's got the original cedar shake. I mean, drive by and look at it.
Yeah.
And, if you want to drive by and look at it, I've got a tenant in there, so I really don't want to let him know I'm trying to sell it, or just let me know if it's something you might be interested in.
Well, I definitely think that it is something that we were probably going to be interested in. Just let me ask, if we were able to kind of agree on something and it makes sense for the both of us, how quickly would you like to get it taken care of? Are you looking to sell 30, 60?
I'd have to give this guy he's been a good tenant.
Of course.
I'd have to give him, probably 60 days notice,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, and that's fine with us. Are they on a long-term lease right now, or are they going month to month?
No, he's month to month. He's
Okay.
been in there about 5 years. So
Okay.
he's month to month.
All right. Yeah, and that's completely fine with us. That's something that we do quite often, and it's common. If we do agree on something, we can, set the closing date out, say 60, 75 days out, and then just kind of note that if we're able to close sooner than that, then we could, and obviously, I want to make that clear too that we want to work with your tenant. We're by no means in the business of kicking anybody out on the street or anything like that. So we like to
Yeah.
work with their timeline and make sure that everybody's transitioning comfortably. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like something that we might be interested in. I mean, if I was able to kind of be, up near that 250 mark, is that something that you'd be agreeable to?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay, let me do this. What I can do.
What's your name?
My name is Derek.
Okay.
And I was gonna say
All right. Well,
what I can
just
do.
text me back, Derek.
Uh-huh.
Let me know this is Derek, and then I'll know who you are.
Sure.
I get so many calls and texts on this house.
I bet.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, what I'll do.
All right. Well, let me know, bud. I'm getting ready to watch the Astros here, and I got
Of course.
things I got to get done.
Of course.
So anyway, well, listen, just text me if there's any interest. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for your time.
Bye.
Bye now. Good conversation. He was wanting to get off there at the end. It's fine. I was gonna go for the close, to be honest. 250, I think, is something that can be done. It's weird though. 250 is his estimate. Again, uh, his Redfin estimate is 315. I think 250. If my comps are correct, and this is gonna go for something close to 400 once it's all fixed up, I think I could easily offer 250. I'd be right around that ballpark though. I mean, it's not. I could easily offer 250 if I wanted any assignment fee. If I wanted a nice sizable assignment fee, I'd try to get him down to 240, 230. But he said that he got an offer for 254. He didn't do anything with it. I kind of almost don't want to mess around with it. You know what I mean? I kind of just want to give him what he wants, but I can't make it sound too sweet. He was getting ready to watch the baseball game, so I didn't want to. I mean, he wasn't even going to let me take up any more of his time. He was cutting me off, if you heard, but that's all good. Not motivated, or maybe he is. It's like underlined, and I'm not quite sure what it is. If anything that I had to guess is maybe just tired landlord. He's owned the property for 20 years. Tenant's been in there for 5. Charges him $1,200 a month in rent. That seems low. In the area, I'm sure things are going for 1,600 plus. What else? Timeline. He's more concerned about his tenant's timeline than his timeline. So for him, I'm sure if it made sense, he'd be ready to go on it sooner rather than later. Yeah, the condition is really what is probably the motivator. Because he doesn't want to dump the money into it. I wasn't able to really dig deep on that. It was a pretty surface level conversation, to be honest. I didn't really get much pain out of him, but he's interested, right? Interested, not motivated. Interested, maybe slight motivation, and that's really what these are the type of leads that follow up is key, right? Because I truly feel that this is a deal here. I just think that it may not happen as soon as I'd like, if that makes sense. Again, I was trying to go for the close right then. If he would have let me keep talking, I would have placed him on a hold and trying to get approval. You know what I mean, for that number, that 250. I can't think of anything else that really happened in that conversation. It was very. What I was going to say is he dove right into the condition. I didn't even ask about it. These are the type of stuff you can just hear it in his tone of voice. I've said this before. I can tell if somebody's going to sell the first 2 seconds. First 2 seconds. Um, and it's primarily like, what's the word I'm looking for? Correlated to their um, their demeanor and how much they have their guard up right in the beginning of the conversation. He didn't have his guard up at all. He already knew who I was. I was calling him from the number I was just texting him on because this is again an SMS lead. So I texted. Let me tell you how the conversation went. I said initially, yesterday was the first text. Hi, Steven. Have you given any thought to parting ways with your address? Can we talk about it? And he said, and I dropped my ringless voicemail. He didn't reply. And then today I said, hey, Steven, I reached out yesterday about your address. Are you free to talk today? And he said, sure, give me a call. So I called him. You know what I mean? Very easy setup. I called him and you could tell right away he already had his guard down. He knew why I was calling. He didn't even want me to ask. He just started going into it and I just picked my pen up. He owned it for 20 years. He's owned it for 20 years. His tenant's been in there for 5, pays $1,200. These are all my questions that I ask. You know, I'm looking at my script. How many bedrooms and bathrooms? He answered that without me asking. What type of work has been done in the kitchen or bathrooms in the last 5 years? He answered that without me asking. What's the condition of the roof and windows? I asked about the roof. He told me about the windows without me asking. Roof needs to go. Any foundation issues? I didn't ask that. Does the property have central AC? I asked and answered. It does, and that's fairly new. I didn't ask about plumbing or electrical. I didn't ask if the property's ever flooded. That's tailored towards me in my market because a lot of properties in the city, the metro area, flood. A lot of flooding because of the tropical storms, hurricanes, all type of stuff right there off the coast of Texas. Is anyone living in the property right now? He answered that without me asking. If it's a rental, is the tenant on a long-term or month-to-month lease? How much does it typically rent for? Again, he told me that it rents for 1,200. I asked about the month-to-month. He answered. Are there any major or minor repairs? He's saying it's going for a lot of value, which is weird to me that he's saying that and that he wants 250. Uh, how long have you owned the property? He told me right out of the gate. Um, yeah, I mean, I have some questions. I have on my script, I have questions that are labeled dig deeper, right? And those questions are, you really have to be like aware, have a lot of awareness while you're on the phone to know which questions to ask for the seller's specific situation. Um, so in his case, I could have asked, how long has it been in this condition? Right. It just gets them thinking like, oh, it's been here for, it's been in that condition for years now. How much money do you think it would take to remodel? I asked that. I didn't even, I just off the top of my head. He says 35 to 50. I let him know that, yeah, we're probably going to look at about 50 based on what you're telling me. And then he was like, yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? It's like very simple. Um, I could have asked, what do you plan to do if you don't sell it? I could have asked, have you thought about just listing it on market? Have you thought about just doing the repairs yourself and then listing with a realtor? That's one that I want to make a habit of asking everybody because that really gets them thinking and that brings the pain out, right? Have you ever just thought about doing the repairs yourself and listing it on market? I'm sure you'd get more money that way, right? And a lot of wholesalers don't want to ask that question because they are afraid of losing the deal. It's a very scarcity mindset. Um, you think that they're going to say, you're right. I should just dump $50,000 into the property and sell it for top dollar on market, and I can get paid maybe 2 years from now after all that's done. It's like nobody wants to do that, so don't be afraid to ask that question. Have you ever thought about doing the repairs yourself and then just listing it with a realtor on market? I mean, that's how you'll make the most money here. And they'll say, yeah. I mean, yeah, the repairs are gonna like we're talking about. They're probably gonna be 50,000. I don't have that kind of money, right? I don't have that kind of money to make those repairs. Boom, motivation. The reason why they're selling as is. I didn't even get into the benefits too, which is why it's so powerful to withhold all that stuff. That's something that I'm learning from my coach right now. You don't want to. Everybody's been in the habit and learned all of this beginner wholesaler tactics to go on the phone right away and say, I'll buy it as is. I'll pay the closing costs. You don't have to pay anything. We'll quickly close. The first thing that I realized that nobody gives a shit about is a quick close. They don't care. They just want to close when they want to get paid. If they want to get paid 3 months from now, that's when they want to close. If they want to get paid a year from now, that's when they want to close. If they want to get paid after they take care of their tenant and give their tenant adequate time to move out, that's when they want to close. So I've gotten in the habit of saying stuff like, uh, it's funny. Like I will say, when it comes up, we can close pretty quickly. I get in the habit of telling people that we can close quickly, but I quickly learned that you know not everybody wants to close quickly. So now I've been kind of rephrasing that and letting people know that we can close on your timeline. We want to make sure, and I kind of said this, we want to make sure that everybody is taken care of and that it's a comfortable transition for everybody involved, right? Um, so that lets, when you say we can close within 14, 30 days, people are thinking to themselves, well, I don't want to close that quick. So never mind. I don't want to sell to you, right? You don't want to turn people off with all of the benefits that you're shoving down their throat right out the gate. And also, you don't want to go out and just start saying that you'll pay closing costs, you'll buy it as is, you'll do all this, that, and the third, because to them they're thinking like, oh, okay, if they are entering into the conversation with the assumption that they are going to pay the closing costs, I'm just uh, I almost said Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. He says it. He refers to doing that as blowing your load. You don't want to get on the phone and say, "Hey, I'll buy it as is. I'll pay all the fees. You don't have to pay anything. There's no commissions. You know, this that we can close in 14 days." Because all they hear is like they hear desperation, right? Like, what do you mean? So I went through that whole conversation, just talked about his situation, the condition of the property, and I never once mentioned that I would pay the closing costs. It doesn't matter to him right now, at least. But now that I've withheld that, and when I go to have the negotiation conversation later down the road, when we start talking price, I can say, you know what, you're here at 250, I'm here at 240. Why don't if I can get approval to meet in the middle at 245, I can see maybe if I can take care of the closing costs. Do you think that would be something that you'd be interested in? That way, again, I withheld it so I can use that as um, a negotiation piece. Same with everything else, right? Well, we're buying it as is. The fact that I haven't mentioned that yet, when it does come up in conversation, it's going to seem like I'm going out of my way to accommodate him, right? Well, we'll buy it as is. You typically they have to pass inspections and stuff like that. We just want to walk the property, make sure that it is something that can be repaired. It is something that can be salvaged. It is something that doesn't have to just be torn down, right? If it is something that has to be torn down, doesn't mean that we don't want it. I just don't think that we'd be able to be at that price point. Um, what else that people would say? Buy it as is, close quick, closing costs. Closing costs are the biggest one. But again, I never once mentioned that. And then the only thing that I didn't really get into was the price, but I was getting ready to get into that. Next thing that I would have asked is, or stated and asked is, all right, now we can pay cash, but any outstanding mortgage balance, any unpaid taxes, liens, or anything like that would have to come out of your end. Would anything like that need to be paid off? And then he'll say, yeah, I owe 30,000 on the mortgage still. I don't think I've paid my taxes for the year, so that's probably close to $1,000 too. But yeah, probably less than 35. And if they know off the top of their head how much they owe, then I use that as a transition to ask for their asking price. In this case, it didn't matter because he already told me what he wants. But if he didn't and the price had never been discussed, I would say, okay, so I mean, after we pay off that, let's say 35,000, now how much would you want to walk away with? And if he said 200,000, then his asking price is 235,000, right? Just kind of a little sneaky way to ask them their asking price without asking them their asking price. Um, and then the next section of my script is just the value, to dig a little deeper on the value. Okay, I mean, I haven't really done my deep research yet, but I mean, what are homes in the area going for? Oh, this is if they don't. I'm sorry. This is if they don't know how much their property's worth, or they don't know how much they want to walk away with. Now I'm trying to pull the asking price out through other means. Um, what are homes in the area worth? What are your neighbors' houses selling for? What's the lowest offer you might consider? Is that negotiable at all if they say a number? All right, and then I can and then go into the anchor price. Are you familiar with this street? Right around the block. I'm looking. Yeah, yeah, that's right around the block. All right, yeah, I see a house that just sold in as is condition, or maybe not if it's not the case. It's just sold on this street at this address for 200,000. You know, and then so if I made a note, if the seller freaks out, you say, no, 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 I'm sorry, I'm not saying that's what my offer is. I was just giving you some numbers that I saw in the neighborhood, some facts of the neighborhood. Just pointed that one out. I saw that one that sold for 200. Looking at it, it does look like yours is a little bit bigger, but not by much, right? About 100 square feet bigger on the property and about 500 square feet bigger on the lot. So they are pretty comparable. So I mean, just knowing that that one sold for 200, what do you think your property's worth? Boom. Oh, I don't know. And then at least you have thrown out that anchor price. But that anchor price is there for a reason too. You want to throw that out because sometimes people are gonna say 200,000. Hmm. If you can do 210, I'll do that, right? Or if you can do 200,000, I'll do that. You just never know how they're gonna respond to the anchor price, which is why you want to respond and why you want to have your response to their frustration of the anchor price ready and locked and ready to go. So that when you say, I see this one sold right on the block for 200,000, they'll say 200,000. No, 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 I'm sorry. That's not my offer. I'm just giving you some numbers that I saw in the neighborhood here. And then transition into your offer. And your offer, you always want to do it like this: reiterate the seller pain points, restate your benefits and how they are going to solve the seller's problems, give the offer, whether it be an offer range if they haven't given you a number, or a number if, I mean, you almost always want to give a number range before you start giving concrete numbers. So, I mean, it seems like, you know, the place needs a lot of work. Like you've mentioned, I think we're probably in agreement that it's going to cost probably around $50,000 to really bring it up to speed. Um, you know, I don't know what else. That's pretty much what his motivation is. It's probably, So I mean, if I could come in and buy the property in its as is condition, so that way we wouldn't ask you to make any repairs or anything like that to the place before we bought it. I'd be able to offer you somewhere between 185 and 220,000. Go silent, wait for their response. Oh yeah, I mean, I couldn't go that low. I already got an offer for 254. Yeah, yeah, I understand. Well, I mean, this is definitely a property that we're interested. I want you to know that. We're taking a look at some other properties. We can only buy one right now with the cash that we do have on hand. I am making you a priority since I have you on the phone. We've been in close communication, and I really appreciate you working with us. So I mean, if I could place you on a quick hold, if I could go speak to my funding manager, he kind of underwrites all the deals and gives me the authority on what I'm able to offer on all the properties. I mean, if I could come up to say 230, because I mean I know he's gonna get mad at me already. If I'm gonna go back there and I'm gonna ask for more money when he's already giving me the go ahead on 220, I don't think I can get much more than that. But if I could get authority to make you an offer for 230, we would cover all of the closing costs. How about that? Again, if it's the first time I'm mentioning it, and we'll buy it in its as is condition. You don't have to make any repairs to it. Quick, simple, easy process, and you can get paid again cash. No contingencies, no installments, no payments. When we close, you get that money in your pocket. I couldn't do 235. I mean, I really wanted 250, but if you can get approval for 240, I think I could go for it. Okay, okay. Let me place you on a quick hold. Place them on hold. Go talk to your funding manager, finance manager, shoot the shit, go eat a sandwich, drink a brewski, smoke a blunt, come back. All right, so I just spoke with my finance manager. I know that you were saying you wanted 240, and that's something that you absolutely were willing to accept. He has a problem with getting there. And then he lifts off some facts, maybe just the homes in the area that they're pretty hard to value, especially with those new townhomes going up. Like you're saying, the value's really in the lot. So we're taking a risk by salvaging the place and fixing it up. Um, but my funny, he did give me an increased authority. Unfortunately, it wasn't the 240, but I did get more than I thought. I thought I was gonna beg for 235, but he actually gave me approval for 237. If that's something that you can get on board with. I mean, I'm having a negotiation with myself right now, but this is exactly how the conversations go. He was at 240, of course he's gonna take 237. You know what I mean? Um, uh, and then he's, oh no, I need two. If he really says I need 240, say okay, let me place down a hold. I mean, I've already gotten that much more from him. I don't think it's going to be a problem, right? Because you don't want to lose out on the opportunity. Place him on hold, leave him there for like 5 minutes though, right? Let him think on it. Let him really believe that you are going to bat for him in the other room. All right, man, I went to bat for you. You still there? All right, good. All right. I mean, again, I went to bat for you here. I don't want you to forget this. When moving forward, I don't want you to think that I did. Don't say that I never did anything for you. Just joke around with him a little bit. All right, you ready? Yeah, yeah, I'm ready. All right, I got you the 240. Make it suspenseful. You know what I mean? Oh, that's great. All right, you ready? And what I didn't say, something that you want to do is you want to get a pre-commitment. If I go in there and I'm groveling at this point, I'm begging him for this extra authority. If I go in there and I beg for you, I wanna make sure, and I wanna make sure because I know my finance manager is gonna ask me, "Are you ready to put an agreement together in place today if I can get that 240 for you?" If he says yes, what you wanna do is, okay, before I go in there, this is what I wanna do. If you can send me your or provide me with your email, what I wanna do is send you our company commitment. This is something that I got from Keith Everett, Real Estate Diddy, in his course. Highly recommend if you are trying to improve your sales skills. Um, Let me send you over this company commitment. Just so it tells you a little bit about us and how we do business. Just so you can take a look at that, read it over while I'm going and begging for this extra money. Really, what you're doing, you place them on hold. You're typing up the agreement. Now you have his email. You do send the company commitment, like you said, but now you're typing up the agreement while you're on hold. Unmute him for after 2 minutes. Hey, sorry, just a few more minutes. We're running some numbers here. Sure, sure. Place him back on hold. Finish the agreement. Now you're ready. All you need to do is click send. I come back. I have that conversation about getting him what he wanted, the 240. We're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead. Are you sitting in front of a computer? Yeah. All right. No, no, I'm not, but I can be in the next 2 minutes. All right, cool. I'll hang out. Let me know when you're in front of your computer. How about those Astros? You know what I mean? Shoot the shit for a little bit. Keep them on the phone. Keep them on the phone. Do not let them go after you've given them an offer, which is always why you want to get that pre-commitment. All right, I'm in front of my computer. All right, great. I'm sending over the agreement right now, just kind of as a courtesy. We like to walk through the agreement with you. It's a really simple agreement, just a one-page agreement here. But just in case you have any questions, concerns with the language or anything like that about the agreement, I just want to make sure that I'm on the phone with you so I can address that, up front. All right, did you get the email? Yeah. All right, I'll open it up right here. All right, perfect. All right, so I mean, I don't want to insult you by just reading the agreement to you, assuming that you can't read. So why don't you just give it a quick read, and I'll stay here on the phone. And if anything pops up, you need a little bit of clarification, just let me know. All right. Wait 30 seconds. It shouldn't take him any longer than 60 seconds to go through this one-page agreement. 2 minutes tops. No, everything looks good. All right, perfect. So if you just click the box right there where it says click here to sign, boom, boom, boom. All right, perfect. And then what I like to do is get a schedule. Well, I like to try to get the tenant's contact information so that I can coordinate with them directly. And in this case, it sounds like a situation where I did this for my second deal. I said, I don't want to be the person to break them the bad news unless you want me to. I can do it. I can call them. But it sounds like you have a really good relationship with the tenant. They've been there for 5 years. It sounds like you have a pretty good relationship. So if you want, do you think that you could give them that 60-day notice, by the end of the week? Yeah, yeah, I can do that. All right, perfect. So then what I'll do is I'll wait for you to have that conversation before I reach out, but I would like to reach out personally. That way, when it comes time to having that opportunity to walk the property, I'll let you know we only need to walk the property twice. After you have that conversation with your tenant, I'll send out my property specialist. She's just gonna go there, take some pictures. That way, we can provide the pictures to the people who don't necessarily need to walk the property, like a painter or a landscaper. They don't need to walk the property as long as they have pictures and they have dimensions, a good idea of how much materials they'll need. That's fine, but we will need one extra day to walk the property. I plan to schedule everybody all at the same time. All I need is like a 1 hour window where everybody can walk through. We get our contractors, our realtors, our partners out there to walk the property because those people do need to walk the property to get a better understanding of what we're working with. But again, I'll schedule them all at the same time. It shouldn't take longer than 1 to 2 hours, but that will be the only time that we'll need to walk the property. Once we're done walking the property for the second time, will get out of the tenant's hair for good. I just want to be able to, again, communicate with the tenant directly on scheduling, coordination, and to see, like I said, we're not in the business of putting anybody out on the street. So if there's anything that I can do for the tenant to help them, move or, we may be able to get a moving company out there or really what I want to do is I want to take control of the deal. And I can't do that unless I have the tenant's contact information. I want to be able to call the tenant if a cash for keys is necessary. If they're putting up a fight, they don't want to move, they don't want to get out. We pay rent on time every month for the past 5 years. You can't just kick us out. I want to be able to call them, have that conversation, and offer them some money so that they can get out. You know what I mean? Again, I just want to have full control over the whole deal. Um, and then that would be it. Yeah, that's what I like to do is try to schedule the first showing at least, if not both showings, um, rather property walkthroughs. I try to do that. I try to get the first one scheduled while I'm getting the agreement signed, and possibly the second as well, like a week after that. Um, but yeah, pretty good lead there. Um, I'm gonna text him right now saying, "Hey, this is Derek. Thanks for talking with me. Do a bit of homework and either hey, this is Derek. Thanks for talking with me. I'll do a bit of homework and uh, speak with my partners to see if we can be in that 250K ballpark. If we can, I'll be sure to round back with you ASAP." I've kind of formatted it that way because I may give this lead to somebody else to close. I may not though. I haven't decided, but that's it for this. I'm gonna leave this open. That's the best lead by far I've gotten from texting. By far, he's ready to sell. Sounds like we're in the same ballpark. For just to give you the numbers, I was looking at it with the way that I ran the numbers. Heavy rehab, I would need to be at 240, and I think that was for like a $20,000 or $25,000 assignment fee. So again, I can easily be at 250, even if it needs everything in terms of renovation. For an average renovation, which is, um, kitchen, bathroom, just everything but the big ticket items like the AC, the roof, the foundation, um, I could be at 270. So I'm gonna be somewhere in between because it needs everything. But he replaced the AC recently, so I'd probably be able to come. I'd probably be at like 250. You know what I mean? It makes sense to me that somebody offered him 254. It makes sense to me. I don't think he's lying about that. If he is, I think that was a really accurate lie because I think that's exactly where I'm going to be, somewhere around that ballpark. He said he got an offer for 254. He would sell for 250. So wish me luck on this one. I'll keep you guys updated. If you haven't already, drop a like, subscribe, comment, any recommendations, suggestions, questions, comments, concerns. I see them all and I'll respond to them. Appreciate all you guys. Till the next one. Peace.